Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Always a pleasure.
Today we're tackling a book that I think will resonate with a lot of you guys out there.
Oh yeah, definitely a topic close to home for our listeners, I'd say.
It's called Reclaiming Your Masculinity, a guide to purpose, discipline, and leadership in a world that wants to emasculate.
Yoo-hoo.
Catchy title.
It really is, and the author Conrad Riker doesn't pull any punches.
He gets right to the point. And his main argument is something I think a lot of men are feeling these days, even if they can't quite articulate it.
You're talking about that feeling of being under attack almost?
Exactly. He says modern society is systematically undermining men's identity and purpose.
Like those traditional masculine traits that used to be seen as strength are now demonized.
It's like society flipped the script. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
leaves a lot of men feeling adrift, lost.
And Riker doesn't just theorize about this, he connects it to some real-world consequences that are frankly pretty alarming.
Like the rising rates of male depression and suicide.
It's heavy stuff, but thankfully he doesn't leave us hanging in the dark. He offers a framework for navigating this whole mess, and it's a powerful one, the hero's journey.
Okay, I know that sounds a bit cliche at first,
Right, it's like we've all heard that one before.
but trust me, Riker's take on it is anything but superficial.
He goes beyond those surface-level myths and legends and breaks the hero's journey down into its core stages.
Departure, initiation, and return right.
You got it.
And he shows how each stage applies to the challenges and triumphs men face today.
So it's like a roadmap for navigating the modern world, using these ancient archetypes as a guide.
Exactly. Think of it like this. The departure stage in classic myths often involves a call to adventure, right? Leaving the familiar behind.
Makes sense.
Riker connects that to men today feeling that pull to break free from societal expectations to forge their own path.
I know a lot of guys are feeling that pull, but they're not always sure where to start.
Absolutely. And that's where the initiation stage comes in, where the hero faces trials and obstacles and grows stronger through those challenges.
So how does Riker suggest men navigate that initiation stage in today's world? He argues that men need to embrace discipline, resilience, and strategic thinking to overcome the challenges they're facing.
Sounds intense.
It can be, but he provides some great examples, like Winston Churchill leading Britain through World War II.
Churchill's a powerful example.
His unwavering belief in his mission, even when everyone else doubted him, is a potent reminder that conviction can fuel our own journeys.
So it's about finding that inner strength, that unwavering belief in yourself, even when the odds are stacked against you.
Precisely. And it's not just about mental toughness either. Riker emphasizes the importance of physical fitness.
Of course, physical fitness is always important.
It is, but he's talking about it as a way to build that warrior spirit, that resilience that lets you face any challenge head on.
I like that.
He uses the example of Ernest Shackleton, whose leadership during his Antarctic expedition is a testament to the power of resilience in the face of the unimaginable.
Okay, starting to see how these seemingly ancient concepts can be incredibly relevant to our lives today.
They are timeless in a lot of ways.
So we've got departure and initiation. But what about that final stage, the return? How does that apply to modern men?
That's a good question. Riker argues that the return isn't just about coming home after a physical journey. It's about returning to the world transformed by your experiences, ready to share your wisdom and lead others.
So it's about becoming the best version of yourself through those trials and then using that growth to make a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. He uses the example of Steve Jobs, who didn't just build a successful company, he revolutionized entire industries.
It's a high bar.
It is. But Jobs' visionary leadership reminds us that we can leave a lasting impact on the world, even if it starts with a single idea in a garage.
So it's not about becoming the next Steve Jobs necessarily, but about finding that thing that drives you, that purpose that allows you to leave your mark.
Precisely. And that brings us to another important concept, that Riker explores the idea of confronting the shadow self.
Ooh, that sounds a bit dark.
It can be, but it's also incredibly empowering. Riker isn't suggesting we indulge our darkest impulses or anything like that.
So what is he saying?
What's fascinating is how he reframes the shadow self, not as something to fear, but as a source of untapped potential.
Okay, I'm gonna listen.
He says it's about acknowledging those parts of ourselves that we might normally try to hide or suppress.
The parts we're not so proud of.
Maybe, but Riker argues that integrating these shadow elements rather than denying them is crucial for achieving wholeness and authenticity.
So it's about bringing those hidden parts into the light, understanding them, and then using that self-awareness to become more whole.
Exactly. And he even offers practical techniques for doing this, like meditation.
Meditation. That's not what I expected from a book about reclaiming masculinity.
I know, right? But think about it. Meditation can help us develop self-awareness and emotional regulation skills that are essential for mastering ourselves.
Oh, okay, I can see how that fits in.
And he also talks about the importance of creative expression.
So things like writing, painting, music.
Exactly. He believes these activities allow us to tap into our subconscious and process those hidden emotions and experiences that we might not even be aware of.
It's like channeling those shadow elements into something positive and productive.
Precisely. Riker's vision of masculinity is multifaceted. It's not just about grit and stoicism, it's also about self-exploration and emotional intelligence.
That's a powerful message, and I think it speaks to the complexity of what it means to be a man in today's world.
Absolutely. And it all ties back to the idea of achieving personal sovereignty.
Which is what this whole deep dive's about, right?
Exactly. Riker believes that personal sovereignty comes from mastering yourself, your mind, body, and emotions.
So by confronting your shadow self, embracing the hero's journey, and cultivating discipline, you gain a sense of agency and control over your own life.
It's about taking responsibility for your choices, your actions, and ultimately your destiny.
That's a powerful concept, but let's be honest, it's not always easy to put into practice.
You're telling me we're living in a world that often feels like it's trying to control us, to tell us who we should be and what we should think?
Exactly, and that's why I think Riker's emphasis on personal sovereignty is so important. It's about reclaiming that power, that agency, to define ourselves on our own terms.
Couldn't agree more. And that leads us to another big theme in the book, the concept of authority.
Okay, so we're not just talking about authority figures like bosses or parents.
No, Riker's talking about something much deeper than that.
He's talking about that inner authority, right?
Precisely that sense of self-mastery that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for.
How do we reclaim that sense of authority in a world that often feels like it's trying to take it away from us?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It feels like we're constantly being told what to think, how to behave, what to believe.
And Riker's argument is that true authority isn't something that's given to you, it's something you earn.
Earned through what?
Through responsibility, integrity, and service to others.
So it's not about dominating or controlling others.
Not at all. It's about leading by example, inspiring them through your actions.
So we're not talking about becoming some alpha male who throws his weight around.
Nope. In fact, Riker challenges that whole alpha male myth.
That's interesting because that idea of the alpha male is so prevalent in our culture.
It is, but Riker argues that true leadership is about something much deeper and more nuanced.
He uses the example of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius is a great example of a leader who led with wisdom and restraint rather than brute force.
It's a powerful distinction, and it makes me think about how we can apply that in our own lives.
It's about being the kind of man that others want to follow, not because you demand it, but because you inspire them.
But how do we actually cultivate that kind of leadership in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain?
Well, Riker believes that a crucial part of it is building strong relationships with other men.
He's talking about the power of brotherhood.
Exactly. It's something we've touched on before on this show, but it's a theme that runs throughout Riker's book.
Why do you think he puts so much emphasis on brotherhood?
Because he believes that these bonds provide essential support and a sense of belonging, especially in a world that can feel isolating for men.
It's like having each other's backs, sharing your struggles, celebrating your victories together.
It's about knowing that you're not alone in this journey, that there are other men out there who understand what you're going through.
But in our increasingly fragmented and digital world, it's not always easy to cultivate those deep, meaningful connections with other men.
I hear you, it takes effort, but Riker offers some practical advice for doing just that.
Like what?
Well, he talks about finding shared activities, engaging in open and honest communication, and being there for each other through thick and thin.
It sounds simple enough, but it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and neglect those relationships.
It's true, but Riker's point is that we need to prioritize those connections, make time for them, even if it means saying no to other things.
So it's not just about having buddies to hang out with. It's about finding those guys who share your values, your goals, your struggles, and building those deep bonds of brotherhood.
Exactly, and it's not just about what you get out of those relationships, it's about what you contribute.
It's about being a reliable friend, offering support to your brothers when they need it most.
Precisely. And that kind of reciprocal support can be incredibly empowering.
Speaking of empowering relationships, Riker also talks about the importance of fatherhood as a key aspect of masculine identity.
He believes that fatherhood is a powerful way to leave a lasting legacy, to pass on your values and wisdom to the next generation.
So it's not just about being a biological father, it's about embracing that role of mentor, guide, protector.
Exactly. And he emphasizes the importance of being present in your children's lives, providing guidance, setting a positive example, and instilling in them the values that will help them navigate the world with strength and purpose.
It sounds like a lot of responsibility, but also incredibly rewarding.
It is. It's one of the most challenging and fulfilling roles a man can take on.
And it's a role that I think is becoming increasingly important in a world where traditional family structures are being challenged.
I agree. Riker's message about fatherhood is a timely one, and it's something that I think a lot of men are hungry for.
So it's not just about reclaiming our own masculinity. It's about ensuring that the next generation of men has the tools and guidance they need to navigate this world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This is all starting to paint a pretty clear picture. Riker's saying that reclaiming masculinity isn't about fitting into some outdated stereotype.
No, it's about finding your purpose, building your strength, leading with integrity, and leaving a positive mark on the world.
And he actually goes a step further and dives into some of those harmful myths that hold men back.
Like the lone wolf myth, the perfect man myth, the playboy myth, the self-sacrificing hero myth.
It's like we're constantly being bombarded with these unrealistic expectations that can leave us feeling inadequate or even lost.
Exactly. And what's great about Riker's approach is that he doesn't just deconstruct those myths. He offers alternative models and principles to guide men on a healthier path.
Okay, so what are some of those alternative models he proposes?
Well, he talks about the importance of connecting with nature, reclaiming traditional male crafts, and finding healthy outlets for physical energy and competitive drive.
So it's not just about sitting around reading philosophy. It's about getting out there, doing things, building things, and connecting with those primal instincts.
Precisely, he reminds us that we are not just minds detached from our bodies, we are physical beings with primal needs.
And meeting those needs in a healthy way can be incredibly empowering.
It's about finding that balance between the mental and the physical, the intellectual and the instinctual.
And he also talks about finding balance in your life, not just between work and play, but between your masculine and feminine energy.
That's an interesting concept. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, he draws on the work of Carl Jung, who talked about the anima and animus, and the feminine and masculine archetypes that exist within all of us, regardless of gender.
So it's not about being 100% masculine or 100% feminine. It's about recognizing and integrating both of those energies within ourselves.
Exactly. And Riker argues that this balance is essential for healthy relationships, emotional well-being, and a sense of wholeness.
It's about embracing our full humanity, not denying or suppressing parts of ourselves.
And how do we actually find that balance in a world that often pushes us toward one extreme or the other?
Riker suggests exploring our create side, engaging in introspection, and finding mentors who can guide us on this journey of self-discovery.
So it's about being open to new experiences, being willing to look inward and seeking guidance from those who have walked the path before us.
Precisely, it's a lifelong process of growth and evolution.
Speaking of connecting with something bigger than ourselves, Riker also talks about the role of symbols and archetypes in understanding masculinity.
He uses them to illustrate the deeper psychological and spiritual aspects of masculinity, drawing on myths and stories that have resonated with men for centuries.
So we're not just talking about surface level imagery, we're talking about tapping into something deeper.
Exactly. He talks about the myth of the king, the lover, the warrior, the magician, and how these archetypes can help us understand different facets of the male psyche.
I can see those archetypes could be powerful tools for self-reflection, but how do these ancient myths relate to our lives today?
Riker argues that they're not just stories, they offer insights into the challenges, opportunities, and potential that men face regardless of the era.
It's like they're timeless blueprints for navigating the human experience.
Exactly, and he even delves into specific symbols like the crown, the labyrinth, the lion, the mirror, the serpent, the shield, the sword, the tree, and how these symbols can offer guidance and inspiration.
Okay, that's a lot of symbols.
It is, but each symbol represents a different aspect of the masculine journey, from leadership and self-discovery to courage, protection, wisdom, resilience, and growth.
It's almost like a secret language, a way of communicating these deep truths about masculinity that transcends time and culture.
And these symbols can be incredibly powerful tools for visualization, meditation, and self-reflection.
So it's about finding those symbols that resonate with you and using them to connect with those deeper parts of yourself.
Exactly, and Riker provides a rich tapestry of symbols and archetypes for men to explore and draw inspiration from.
Okay, we've got the hero's journey, the shadow self, brotherhood, fatherhood, archetype, symbols. There's a lot to take in.
It is, but it all starts to fit together when you see the bigger picture.
Riker's creating a comprehensive vision of what it means to reclaim masculinity in the modern world.
It's about more than just reading a book or listening to a podcast. It's about putting these principles into practice in our own lives.
It's about taking action, making changes, and becoming the kind of men we were meant to be.
And one of the key aspects of taking action is developing strategic thinking.
That's another crucial element that Riker emphasizes throughout the book.
He sees it as essential for navigating the complexities of the modern world, achieving goals, and becoming effective leaders.
So it's not just about brute force or winging it, it's about having a plan, a strategy for success.
Exactly. He argues that men are naturally inclined towards strategic thinking, but that these skills need to be honed and developed.
Okay, so how does he break down the concept of strategic thinking? What are the key components?
Well, he talks about the importance of setting clear goals, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, gathering information, analyzing the situation, developing a plan of action, and being adaptable.
It's almost like a step-by-step guide to achieving what you want in life.
It is. He even compares it to playing chess.
Chess?
Yeah, he says you need to think several moves ahead, anticipate your opponent's actions, and be prepared to adjust your strategy as the game unfolds.
So it's not just about reacting to what's happening, it's about being proactive, taking control of the situation, and steering your own course.
Exactly. And he emphasizes that strategic thinking isn't just for CEOs or military generals.
So it's a valuable skill for any man who wants to succeed in life.
Whether it's in his career relationships or personal pursuits.
But let's be real, strategic thinking can feel overwhelming, especially for those of us who are used to just going with our gut or figuring things out as we go.
That's understandable, but Riker offers some practical advice for developing those strategic thinking muscles.
Like what?
He suggests starting by identifying your goals, both short-term and long-term, and then breaking those goals down into smaller, more manageable steps.
So it's like creating a roadmap, a step-by-step plan for achieving what you want.
Precisely. He also stresses the importance of gathering information, analyzing the situation, considering different options, and weighing the potential consequences before making a decision.
So it's not about making impulsive choices, it's about being thoughtful, deliberate, and strategic in your approach.
Exactly. But he also reminds us that adaptability is key. The world is constantly changing, and unexpected things will happen.
So you need to be prepared to adjust your strategy as needed.
Exactly. It's not about rigidly sticking to a plan no matter what. It's about having that flexibility, that ability to pivot and adapt as new information emerges or circumstances change.
Makes sense.
And he offers some tips for developing adaptability, like practicing mindfulness, embracing uncertainty, and learning from your mistakes.
So it's about being present, accepting that we don't have all the answers, and seeing setbacks as opportunities for growth.
Precisely. Riker's ultimate point about strategic thinking is that it's not just about achieving success, it's about living a life of purpose and intentionality.
It's about taking control of your destiny and shaping the world around you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, I think we've covered the key concepts of strategic thinking, but before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on one more topic that Riker addresses in the book, the importance of living with the warrior ethos.
Ah, yes, the warrior ethos. That's a powerful concept and one that's deeply relevant to the theme of reclaiming
But
masculinity.
it's also a concept that can be easily misunderstood or even misrepresented.
You're right, it's not about glorifying violence or aggression.
So let's unpack it carefully. What exactly does Riker mean by the warrior ethos?
He's talking about cultivating a set of virtues and principles that have guided warriors throughout history.
Okay, so we're talking about things like courage, honor, discipline, self-control, loyalty, a willingness to face challenges head on.
Exactly. Those are the hallmarks of the warrior.
But how do those virtues apply to the average guy living in the modern world?
That's a good question, and it's one that Riker addresses directly in the book.
Because, let's be honest, we're not facing down charging armies or fighting gladiatorial combats.
True, but Riker argues that the battlefield has changed, but the principles remain the same.
So it's about applying those warrior virtues to the challenges we face in our daily lives.
Whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal struggles.
It's about finding that inner warrior, that strength of character that allows us to overcome adversity and achieve our goals.
Exactly. And he offers some specific examples of how to do that, like setting high standards for yourself, holding yourself accountable, pushing your limits, and never giving up on your goals.
So it's about that inner drive, that relentless pursuit of excellence, even when it's hard.
Precisely. And he emphasizes the importance of leading by example, inspiring others through your actions, and always striving to be the best version of yourself.
That's a powerful message, but it's also a bit intimidating. I mean, not everyone is cut out to be a warrior, right?
Well, Riker would argue that the warrior ethos is not about being born a certain way. It's about cultivating a certain mindset.
A mindset that embraces challenge, discipline, and a commitment to excellence.
Exactly. And he offers practical advice for developing that mindset.
Like what?
Well, he reiterates the importance of physical fitness, not just for physical health, but for mental toughness and discipline.
So it's not just about lifting weights or running marathons.
It's about pushing your physical limits, testing your endurance and proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you think.
It's about building that mental fortitude, that grit that allows you to overcome obstacles and achieve your goals.
Exactly. And it's not just about physical strength either. Riker also talks about the importance of studying history, learning from the examples of great warriors and leaders who've come before us.
So it's about finding inspiration from the past, learning from their successes and failures, and applying those lessons to our own lives.
Precisely. It's about tapping into that lineage of strong men who have faced adversity and emerged victorious.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's be real, not all of us have access to a bunch of warrior mentors in our daily lives.
True. But that's where finding a mentor becomes crucial,
Riker believes that having a strong mentor can make all the difference in a man's life.
especially when it comes to cultivating courage, discipline, and honor.
So it's about finding someone who embodies those warrior virtues, someone who can guide you, challenge you, and support you on your journey.
Exactly. It's about having someone who believes in you, pushes you, and helps you become the best version of yourself.
That's powerful. But how do we find these mentors? They don't exactly grow on trees.
They don't. But Riker emphasizes that mentors can come from all walks of life.
They don't have to be famous or successful in the traditional sense.
It's about finding someone who has walked the path you want to walk, who's learned from their experiences, and who's willing to share their wisdom with you.
And it's about being open to receiving that guidance, being willing to be challenged and pushed outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly. And Riker stresses that mentorship is a two-way street.
So it's not just about receiving guidance, but also about giving back, supporting others, and eventually becoming a mentor yourself.
Precisely. It's about paying it forward, building that brotherhood, that chain of strong men who help each other rise.
And that brings us back to the importance of community and connection.
We need each other. We need those strong bonds of brotherhood to support us, challenge us, and inspire us to become the best versions of ourselves.
And that's ultimately what Riker's book is all about. It's a call to action for men to reclaim their masculinity, to step into their power, and to create a better world for themselves and for future generations.
Well said. It's a powerful message for sure. And there's another layer I think we should touch on before we wrap things up.
Okay, what's that?
Riker gets into some pretty interesting territory when he talks about how modern society is almost working against men in some ways.
You're talking about things like the rise of victimhood culture, the demonization of ambition.
Exactly. He says these trends have created a sense of confusion for a lot of men.
Like they're not sure where they fit in anymore.
It's like the rules of the game have changed, but nobody told us what the new rules are.
And in the meantime, we're left feeling like we're constantly stepping on eggshells.
Afraid to express ourselves or pursue our goals with the same drive we used to.
It's almost like we're supposed to apologize for being men.
And Riker pushes back against that pretty hard.
He does. And I think it's an important conversation to have because it's not just about men feeling good about themselves.
Right. It's about men fulfilling their potential and contributing to society.
It's about recognizing that we need both masculine and feminine energies to create a balanced and harmonious world.
Couldn't agree more. And that brings us to another point that Riker makes about the biological differences between men and women.
That's always a sensitive topic, but I appreciate that he doesn't shy away from it.
He doesn't. He argues that men and women are wired differently and that these differences are not just social constructs.
Okay, so he's acknowledging the nature versus nurture debate.
He is. And he's saying that we need to understand and appreciate these inherent differences rather than try to erase them.
Because trying to pretend that men and women are the same is ultimately harmful to both sexes.
Exactly. It sets us up for failure and frustration.
So instead of trying to fit into a mold that doesn't quite fit, we need to embrace our unique strengths and differences.
And Riker goes even further and talks about the importance of hormonal balance, specifically testosterone.
Okay, testosterone often gets a bad rap, so I'm curious to hear how he addresses that.
Well, he acknowledges that testosterone can be expressed in both positive and negative ways.
Of course, too much aggression or recklessness is never a good thing.
But he emphasizes that testosterone is not inherently bad.
It's about finding that balance right.
Exactly when testosterone levels are optimal, men feel more confident, focused, and driven.
They have that energy and vitality that allows them to pursue their goals and make a positive impact on the world.
Precisely. And he talks about how things like exercise, diet, and stress management can impact testosterone levels.
So it's about taking care of our physical and mental health to optimize our hormonal balance.
It's a holistic approach that recognizes the interconnectedness of our mind, body, and spirit.
And it's about reclaiming our natural vitality and strength, not chasing some unrealistic ideal of masculinity.
It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves, both physically and mentally.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We've explored Riker's core argument, the hero's journey, the shadow self, brotherhood, fatherhood archetypes, symbols, strategic thinking, the warrior ethos, and even the biological realities of men and women.
It's been a deep dive for sure, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore, but I think we've given our listeners a good overview of Riker's key ideas.
And if you're intrigued by what you've heard today, we highly encourage you to pick up a copy of Riker's book.
It's available on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
It's a powerful read, and one that we believe can benefit any man who's looking to reclaim his masculine, find his purpose, and make a positive impact on the world.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep striving, and keep building that brotherhood.